Good film for people who think they were born in the wrong generation. You think that if you lived in the 19th century you'd be in Bridgerton? No, this is what you'd get.
The living always more dangerous than the dead.
Okay, so it's the 19th century in this fishing outpost, and it's winter, the roads are blocked, so they're all trapped there and in danger of starving. But don't worry, it gets so much worse. The leader of the outpost is this widow of a guy who died recently, and then she's trying to work with his best friend, who's now leading the boat, and then he dies, and then she's just trying to, figure out how to keep these people alive through the winter while watching other people die off the coast, and then more people die, and they all get cursed. Wow. The Damned is about Odessa Young really pulling off the role of most stoic woman in history as she withstands freezing cold temperatures, missing a dead husband, trying to get it on with his replacement, and being cursed by dead people she could have saved but didn't. Wow. So yeah, when a ship sinks off the coast of this fishing outpost, the people think, oh, well, it'd be really nice to go save them, but also, if we bring them here, then we're trapped with them all winter, and we're all going to starve instead of us just maybe starving. So they don't go help them. But then their resources wash up on the shore, and they think, maybe we should go out there and gather some more of the resources. And then they've got to, fight off some of the people who are still left alive out there, and it's awful. And it makes it seem like they're really awful people, the main characters, and they're not, but they're in a really impossible situation. So it is really rough as a moral dilemma kind of thing. Normally in a horror film, things start off good or nice or chill, and then they progressively get worse. This one, they start off so bad, and then they just progressively get worse anyway. I admire the shaking up of the formula, and honestly, this is a film that's really got a lot going for it. I didn't expect to overly like this. And it has met and exceeded my expectations wildly, because it's got the cinematography, which is excellent, the real wide shots, these snowy landscapes, the dark bleakness of this snowy winter. It's an oppressive kind of force of mild horror all on its own. This actually has a surprising number of elements of traditional horror while having a lot of the style feels like elevated horror. And I'm not normally a massive fan of elevated horror. I feel like there are these things, these traditional ideas like jump scares. People go, oh, a horror film doesn't have to have jump scares. I agree with that, but I also think it's fun to have some in there to properly show that you can build the suspense to that moment and then have that terror. There are different kinds of terror, and I feel like this film does a really good job of crossing the threshold between the kinds that you get in elevated horror and the more traditional ones, because it's just as comfortable having a nighttime scene where she's walking across this dark, snowy landscape and realizes there's something behind her chasing her, traditional horror, as it is having a scene during the daytime where they're investigating these coffins and realize one of them's empty and stuff like that. I feel like there is such a good blending here, and also it's just got these genuine scenes of they truly heart-stopping terror, because I was gripped by a couple of these scenes in a way that it doesn't happen a lot anymore. I've just watched so many horror films at this stage that I feel like it takes something special to really make you go properly and freeze in your seat and go, oh my god. And this had a couple of different scenes that really did that for me. I came into this thinking it might be another unnecessarily fanciful horror film that really is a little too up its own butthole to actually do anything that great. And I don't think it's overly original, because I could compare this quite neatly to The Thing, which is pretty much my favourite horror film of all time, because it does have that isolation, the snowy landscapes, this thing arrives and starts to terrorise these people and turns them against each other even, so it's got a lot of similarities to The Thing, and it's also got a lot of the style of a Robert Eggers film or something, and I don't think any of that is a bad thing. I think this is taking good inspiration from different places. It doesn't feel like it is a copycat of The Thing or of Robert Eggers or any particular thing. It just has a lot of these elements that have become popular or used to be popular or just are very good and useful when done right. And honestly, I don't have any complaints about this. It feels like a slow burn, and it's only about 90 minutes long, but because it's only 90 minutes long, it doesn't end up feeling, because I think a horror film that feels slow-paced is in danger of just not being that great a lot of the time. But this doesn't, because it's only 90 minutes long. With this style, if it had added another 20-30 minutes on, you might be getting to the stage where it feels a bit too slow to have the kind of sharp that it really wants, you really want it to hit you with. But it struck me. I was really surprised by how much I enjoyed this. And with horror films nowadays, you maybe get like 1 or 2 of those a year, and then a lot of the rest are mildly to extremely disappointing. So I'm giving The Northestest Man 4 stars. It is interesting that this came out in the US like right at the start of January, first week. That's like the dumping ground for the very worst horror movies of the year. That's when Night Swim came out last year. Like, normally it's absolute crap, and I was expecting this to be a real slog to make through. And by about 20-30 minutes in, I was going, and it's, yeah. Subscribe for more hard truths.